Hello there, Internet. Mogwai here, and I got another Legends of Runeterra video for you guys today. And today we are gonna celebrate the last day of 2020, which has been the worst year for many people that I see on the internet. Like, in fact, apparently the status quo is that 2020 is to be deemed as a horrible year. It makes sense, you know, COVID was a thing, and obviously that had a big impact. In fact, it's been a little bit infuriating seeing some people downplay the epidemic and the disease itself, since those people have clearly not been through the hell that many others have been, and their inconsideration and lack of empathy, or honestly just straight up stupidity, can be frustrating. I get you, I feel it. You know, 2020 has definitely had a lot of bad things going on for it in that regard on a global scale. But I also find it a little bit, you know, annoying sometimes when everybody's like so obsessed with like, oh, just shitting on 2020. And I get it, you know, you gotta cope. I'm gonna be honest, 2020 is one of the best years I've had in my entire life. Like, maybe it's just me, and maybe I'm just gonna lose all my subscribers and everything as I'm saying this. But, you know, 2020 has been a really good year for me. Like, obviously the pandemic is a thing, and it was pretty bad, and it's affected me too. But I just don't think it's ever wise or smart to claim that a year is bad for absolutely everybody, right? Despite the fact that I will admit that it has been bad for most, and a lot of bad shit has happened. But honestly, we live in a very hostile world towards us. I think this was a good year to remind us that, you know, we're not alone in this planet. You know, we just happen to be the dominant species in our current, you know, lifetime, and we have an entire world filled with, you know, little and big creatures, and they all want to kill us and take our place. So just don't take shit for granted, man. I just think like a lot of people just forget that because we live in peaceful times and social media and all that, and we're just arrogant as a species. But yeah, what the fuck am I talking about? I've been rambling for like 2 minutes about just random philosophical stuff. I should leave these things for my streams, actually. In my defense, I am a little bit inebriated. I did have some drinks with the family, as this is the last day before I head out for my vacation, and my parents arrived and all that stuff. And I, you know, I just don't predict well how, you know, I don't measure well. I'm gonna go with that. And just keep that in mind for the video, because today's video, I may be a little bit more tipsy than usual. Hopefully that does not hinder the overall quality for you. Let's actually talk about the deck that I got for you today, instead of like all my incessant rambling, and actually say something of substance, at least regarding card games that you guys can, you know, take some use of from English. We're going to be playing a Funsmith deck today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be combining the likes of Twisted Fate, Ezreal, and Gameplank in one deck because of a new card that we got in called Mountain. That card is called Boomship. Boomship is this card right here. It is a 3-mana slow speed spell that says deal to a unit, then summon powder kegs equal to the amount of damage dealt. Now, this is not a card that's very easy to understand initially, you know, unless you're a 5-head. Like, you got to think a little bit about it, like what the point is behind this card's design, right? Because ultimately, this card on its own, what it does is it's basically like a more powder that deals 1 damage to a unit and costs 1 more mana, which makes it horrible, right? Like, this card being played on its own without any prior setup and or synergy being enabled is really weak for the cost that you're paying for it, and the fact that it is slow speed. Now, ultimately, I do believe Boomship in general is a weak card. It's not really strong. There's a reason why it hasn't seen much play. I believe they kind of hit the, yeah, they did hit the mark with this a little bit, especially when you compare it to stuff like Grand Plaza. I do believe, like, you know, I do believe the Riot team does a fantastic job at balancing, but they have a lot of areas to improve as well, and this card is a good example of that. Like, Boomship is not as great, but it is definitely playable in the right list. The only real deck that can justify this is a deck fully focused on Powder Keg synergy. Now, Powder Keg is my favorite mechanic introduced in the Rising Tides expansion, which, to this date, I believe to be the best expansion in Legends of Runeterra by far. I like Call of the Mountain. There's a lot of really neat stuff from Call of the Mountain. I love a lot of the cards, but Rising Tides is their best job to date. And yeah, hopefully they can you know, meet that bar once again in the future. Regardless, I love powder kegs, and I was very excited to see a card like Boomship being created, right? So ultimately, I decided to go back to the powder keg Funsmith concept, because ultimately what Funsmith is a 4-mana 1/3 that grants you a permanent powder keg on the board. That's ultimately what it does. And with cards like Funsmith, Boomship all of a sudden starts netting you value. If you happen to have 2 Funsmiths on the board, then your Boomship is dealing 3 damage for 3 mana and granting you 3 powder kegs as well, which can allow you to ramp in powder kegs. And something that's really neat about the Boomship is once you build up your powder kegs, you can go for the Boomship and you get a very strong hit, capitalizing on the high density of kegs, but not losing them in the process. That's the biggest strength of this card. The ability to hit something for damage and not waste your powder kegs in the process, right? I still do think this card could be 2 mana. I do think it's a little bit too balanced right now to be like top tier competitive, but it is fun to mess around with, and I figured it would be fitting for a, you know, last day of the year sort of video, since, you know, fireworks, boom, boom. I think it is, to a certain degree, self-explanatory. We're playing a couple of Aftershocks. We are running a couple of Riptide Rex and Dreadway. These cards work extremely well with the Funsmith. Riptide Rex dealing 3 damage instead of 2, and 2 damage to the Nexus instead of 1. With the Cannon Barrages, each of one individually buffed by the Funsmith, which makes them extremely powerful. Dreadway also really good. Instead of a 3rd Riptide Rex, I like Dreadway a lot, because in conjunction with our direct damage spells and our powder kegs and the likes of Funsmith, we can deal some absolutely insane damage as well. Really like my spell distributions in general, the amount of reactive spells that I got, the 2/2 split with Warning Shot and Parley, very key as well. And very, very fun reactive deck that just goes face sometimes, deals a lot of damage, controls the opposing board, and it can have a really solid game against more aggressive pace tactics, as we have some really tempo-based removal. Like, we have reliable removal to deal with early aggression, and we have ways to punish spread out board states, which are getting relatively popular in this meta. And that is why this deck came to be, and because Boomship go boom. And that's great, that's fun, that's fantastic. Leave a like for Boomship go boom. And leave a like for the end of 2020. And that's where I'll leave it at. That's all day. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for daily Legends of Runeterra content. Enjoy the games. And I'll see you next year. Alright, here we go. Whew, alright. What is this video? Alright, let's I'm just laughing at my joke. Let's keep the Dreadway Deckhand and the Funsmith alongside the Make It Rain. We're facing Go Hard, so things that we got to take into account. Well, first of all, they're Go Hard bopping our kegs. Like, that's just, honestly, if you ask me, that's just bullshit. But it can happen, so having a decent density of spells to react to that is important. We also got to take into account that they do tend to go pretty wide with low stats, so cards like Make It Rain have tremendous use, and I like to have these 2 damage enhancers in hand, especially as I mulligan into a Twisted Fate. So let's go, let's do this. Let's pack them good. Let's work for Gangplank's level up. Let's eat a Go Hard to the face.
Come closer.
Or let's do nothing.
Bite.
We have the Mystic Shot.
From the darkness. You got legs. Use them.
We are gonna Mystic Shot. Listen, Barba. You only get that if you're Spanish or you speak Spanish. That's really good. I'm gonna hit this for 3. Now, one of the things to take into account here is that we will be vulnerable to Go Hard after this. They could potentially counter this with a Vile Feast, but I don't expect them to have Vile Feast, because that would mean that they are mentally deficient, as you don't, like, and you know what, like, I don't care if some people get offended by me using these harsh terms. I don't think it's a big of a deal. I don't think people should be offended by that. I'm not addressing anybody individually except for my opponent. My opponent could be offended. They have the right to, for sure. We're gonna attack to, you know, like I said, not only guarantee that we get the level up progression for game playing, but also pass over initiative, see what our opponent does, and then react accordingly.
Blue as the serpentine.
And we're not gonna play our own Twist of Fate. No, 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 no. We're going Fuzzsmith.
Give me a weapon, I'll give it fire.
They haven't lost a unit here, right? No, they haven't. So, like I was saying, what was I saying? Yeah, like people will get offended by that, like whatever, you know. Like I like saying mentally deficient. I like calling my opponents monkeys. And, you know, I don't mean any offense by it, except the fact that I'm calling them a, you know, less mentally advanced ape. Because it makes me feel better about myself, you know, when I lose. So, yeah, just bear with that. Stop whining. Let's drop you.
It's not exactly legal, but it is exactly awesome.
And then still no go hard. No reason not to make it rain. We're gonna progress as reals. Level up by 2 stages. Unless they have a glimpse beyond. I've had some people complain about me singing in my videos. I understand. It's annoying. It's actually pretty terrible quality. And, yeah, it can be pretty obnoxious. My response to that is... eat a dick. Eat a big fat dick. Because I don't care. Let's... I like the idea of developing the Dreadweed Deckhand, actually. For 7 man, yeah, let's do it.
I've whipped up something special.
We're threatening more damage here. And we have the makings for a ridiculous red card. There's no concern about a ruination here, so this could be the turn to just go crazy. And we will most definitely punish the opponent for developing here.
This'll send them running.
You poor thing.
I understand I get less damage this way, but I am navigating around.
Left when I'm done.
I'm always up for a round or two.
I'm gonna play Twist of Fate. 4 damage to the face, plus clearing that, you know,
I'm a people person.
Withering Will could be a thing. Withering Will could definitely be a thing, but I am not playing into Twist of Fate.
Never lost a fair game.
Ah,
I'm out.
I cried every time. I mean, to be fair, wait. The strongest, higher power, high health. Okay, so it was always gonna hit Twist of Fate. Important to know.
Watch the ball, folks. Deal me in.
You know, our opponent could still potentially commit quite a bit more to the board, but we're not going to play into that. We're going to get guaranteed value. If he wants to continue developing the board, that's fine. That's fine. That's very much fine. We're still threatening here. Like, it would have been awesome to clear this, but I can guarantee you my opponent would not have committed like this. Considering I have double Funsmith on the board, like, that just would not have happened.
Looks like trouble.
We're gonna attack.
This is outrage!
You
You pay first!
Where you going?
Happy New Year.
Wait a
You
minute.
get extra singing. You want to block for more damage. That actually makes a lot of sense. Man, gameplay level up. That's very nice to finish off this match. I love being at turn 8 with no go hard to be seen. La 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 da da da. Ooh. Let's wait. Alright, so I thought I could set up a kill here, but I don't think that's the case. Has he lost any units in the process? He has blocked. Yes, he has, which means he could have a black. He did reveal blacks. Did he reveal Black Spear earlier, or am I just tripping? I'm just tripping. I'm just like, I'm honestly not in a good mental state to like honestly assert anything. So I'm going to play a little bit on instinct instead, which is honestly not ideal. Yeah, but Twist of Fate says so, so we're gonna listen to Daddy. There we go. I love that. Make it rain, boy. We're gonna have to resort to salvage to level up to Fate, but the beautiful thing is that we are going to be able to level him up 100% with double Funsmith on the board, son. Yeah, thought so. I guess you can win them all. I kind of just want to hit everything. If we do this, if we play another one, we guarantee to hit everything. And we kill him. Math? I'm too drunk for math. God, I'm good at this game. I see everything in front of my brain, and I'm just way too ahead of the curve, man.
It was in the cards.
And in my brain power, and my humility, my most valuable trait. Let's go for another one. Marcus 000. I believe this is the Norwegian player who is known for being insane at the game. Yeah, I kind of want to keep the Mystic Shot, to be fair. Maybe I could have mulliganed it away considering how many damage sources I have, but I'm happy with this. We got the combo with Warning Shot in this. One of the things to keep in mind with this deck is that Funsmith enables your Riptide Rex to be extremely powerful. I'm gonna play reactive.
Water changes but never breaks.
I'm gonna go with double powder. That.
I've got your back.
I've whipped up something special. Engulf them.
By going, like, I really like the fact that he targeted this with River Shaper. I think that was actually like a misplay. Oh, no, 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 no.
A gift from the river folk.
We progress. Ezreal's level up a little bit.
Don't blink or you'll miss me.
I could play Gangplank, but I'm gonna hold on to him. He is a potential win condition. I mean, he could have a sharp sight is the problem.
Sounds dangerous.
I'm gonna try to attack though. If he doesn't have the sharp sight, it's too much of a gain if he doesn't have the sharp sight. I need to threaten this. Yeah.
Currents pull them down.
I cry every time.
What form will the waters take?
We're drawing a little bit awkwardly as well. Like double Riptide Rex in our opener here. We're gonna have to find ways to really set this up.
Soldiers, to me!
I rarely forget and never forget.
We have to go Gangplank
Respect you, Captain.
into make it rain.
Honor guide me. You got legs. Use them.
A gift from the river folk.
All right, in Riptide Rex we trust. We're going down like in card advantage significantly.
Ready, Rex? Not yet. Good to go.
But this is the way to go. Deny doesn't really interact with this, but obviously they could have stuff like single combat, which would clear my body on the board and would leave me wide open. Like, things aren't looking great for us by any means. Honestly, we were off to a tough start. I don't think it's like a super tough matchup, even though the barriers are definitely an issue for us. The barriers are actually like a very big deal for us. But it wasn't really the barriers that did us in this time around. It was just like my opponent didn't really play that many cards. We just drew a little bit awkwardly, unfortunately. We drew a little bit too much for the late game.
Swing within the flows of magic.
I want to try to knock out the River Shaper, because if it does open attack on me next turn, it will knock me out, but obviously it does leave me vulnerable.
You're covered.
I'll get you wet. Run if you
I have to develop as many blockers as I can. I need to try to survive this turn if possible.
My deal is yours.
I don't mind this attacker.
Got a rock with your name on it.
Get a rack with your name on it. We're going to block like this. He's going to preserve the unit. Makes sense. And we're going to pray to our Lord Almighty Cthulhu that we find a warning shot here. Or that works too.
You will pay for the next kill.
This could be countered. They could have a deny, a notify, and if they do that, like, they know what my other card in hand is. Yeah. Yeah, I probably should have attacked first, to be fair. But then again, barriers could be a thing. GG. I cry every time. Very powerful, like, curve. Nothing particularly exciting happened that game. We drew a little bit, like, we drew mostly our late game curve, and despite draws, like I also think that that matchup can be a little bit tricky. The barriers really do make things awkward because we don't have access to hush and stuff like that. So one barrier alone can completely counter our pings, even though like if we sequence properly, we can potentially navigate around that. I don't think that's like an auto loss by any means, but yeah, different draws, and perhaps a different approach can do better. So yeah, let's go for another one. Okay. We're facing the really cool deck, or at least the deck that is masked as a very cool deck, but it's just a go hard deck. So we're gonna go ahead and mulligan. Like, no, I don't like Petty Officer in this matchup either. I don't like the fact that it's so vulnerable. I mean, I'm not gonna be against like mulliganing into it, I guess, but it's definitely not within our priorities. We could see go hard happen here, but we do gotta be proactive. We do gotta develop the droid way they can. If they do have go hard for a powder keg, they are going down in card advantage.
Anything helps.
That is certainly impressive. We're gonna attack. If they want to block, that's fine. We still get card advantage. What did they discard? Another Zonite Hurricane. Okay. We have access to both Make It Rain and potentially Mystic Shot as well. Bypass.
It's not exactly legal, but it is exactly awesome.
We are going to play the Funsmith. As much as I would like to go for an attack, there's a lot of things my opponent could very easily have. There's the first go hard. Eventually they have to play it.
Extra bite.
Again, another 2-for-1 trade. We still have the ability to enable our powder keg. Like, we don't know if our opponent is one of those players that's running the likes of Vile Feast. Especially because they're not playing Zap Sprayfin, right? Because
Come closer. I don't bite.
normally, when you're playing Zap Sprayfin in Bilgewater, the last thing you want to do is add cards like Vile Feast to the deck. Maybe I'm a little bit inebriated, so I can be a little bit more open about this, but people who do that, who stole your brain cells when you were young? Like, what happened to you? You used to be smart. What's wrong? Like, seriously.
Deal me in.
Do you not think when you build decks? Like, what the fuck? Like, that really triggers me. That actually, like, my OCD, like, it really upsets me. It shouldn't. Definitely shouldn't. But it does. No. Nine. Well, let's see, I have another Glismeon. They've already gone for one, right? No, they haven't.
Get in their tracks.
Thinking about another game. Did we go? We did go against Go Hard before that. I am so wasted. I don't even know. I don't even know anything.
Officer.
Thank you. Thank you, officer.
Prepared for anything.
Oh, really? You prepared for this? Gotta work for level up as well.
Lady Luck is smiling.
Luck is smiling.
Nothing like the great outdoors. A little adjustment for a lot of power.
I want to prioritize Funsmith.
No stone unturned.
He's playing the Hex Core Foundry and Progress Edge. Get knocked the fuck out. God, Funsmith is fun, honestly. I wanna play Gangplank because
It's a sharp tongue you've got there.
he's got the most damage, no ruination threat, no ruination threat.
Like a fish in water.
I wanted to increase my chances of having.
You'll fight or you'll swim.
Okay, that was. I should have kept track of that, but progress day into ruination,
Blow up the pieces.
not exactly the standard to play around. God damn it, dude.
What you looking for?
The ocean herself will fear us.
I probably should have waited.
We have here. Just borrowing.
Reporting in.
Treadway coming through, but I mean that slip up can happen to anybody, especially under the influence. Yeah, I forgot about that. Like the fact that he had to have pulled the ruination with that progress day, that was a little bit. That was like really. You gotta expose me like that. Okay, thank you. Really fun match though. Hopefully I can showcase Boomship a little bit better. But at least we showcased our win conditions pretty well. Let's go for another one. Okay, Timmy. Nope. Oh my god, I don't know, I misclicked. I basically misclicked. I don't know what happened there. I'm drunk.
It's a big responsibility to shepherd stock.
Not a great matchup because they have healing, so we're gonna have to wait before we actually start developing our units. I could have Mystic Shot this, to be fair, but I will. Because I know he can't heal it now. So trading with that is actually really neat.
Osu can snip out any star anywhere.
I'm gonna play Ezreal.
One shot, all skill. Can't stop me.
I work for the gang playing level up, and I make use of my mana, because otherwise I'm gonna burn 1 mana, and just to enable Make It Rain, it just doesn't make sense.
For one, if you'd oblige.
Yeah, this is a problem.
A little adjustment for a lot of pow.
Let us peruse this establishment fair.
It's not bragging if you can back it up.
Wow.
Charge.
Beautiful. Gotcha! Damn.
I am unbenched.
Alright, so we know he doesn't have an Astral Protection. Very important. Unless he draws it now, we know it's not a thing.
Something for my taste.
Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam.
Check me out.
Come on in. Appetizers Answers aplenty.
Stop bragging if you could back it up. Nailed it.
I feel better when you feel better.
Firing!
Now I'm gonna go for the Boomship.
So what's in store for me?
I need time for commune, Tom. This you know.
Okay, so if he has... Yeah, it has to be this. It has to be the Aftershock.
We look after our own.
And we're gonna get our dudes back. Shut down, baby! Shut Tommy Boy down! Like, that's one of the things about when you're facing Tahm Kench Soraka. You cannot be intimidated by Tahm Kench. Be relentless against him. Just keep firing at him. Yeah, Astral Protection can be a thing amongst other stuff, but just keep going. Keep going, keep going. If they don't have the answers, he'll go down. I know. Fascinating. But it really is worth it. And I don't know if I really showcased Boomship here. We had 5 games though. Like, we had 5 games. Didn't really like the 4th game. I think the 4th game was kind of like a bit of a non-game really. But that happens in card games regardless. I've had some really good success with Boomship, but I've showcased it a little bit. I mean, it did help me take out Tahm Kench there, but this card has put in like a lot more work when I actually managed to build up my powder kegs, and I just get to fire off at my opponent, right? But I'm not gonna lie, I'm running a little bit bad on time. I'm also not in the best mental state right now. Let's go with that. And I still gotta get 2 more videos done, so yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video despite my condition, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck. Try it out. It really has worked out really well for me, and I've had a lot of fun with it. And Boomship is definitely not a super powerful card, but it is fun to mess around with, and I do think it definitely has some good utility in a more committed synergy sort of build like this. And that's where I'm going to leave it at. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for daily Legends of Runeterra content. Have a happy new year, as it should be new year in like maybe an hour or so for at least Spaniards like me or Europeans like me. So hopefully you got your, you know, New Year's resolutions in order. I never do those because I never complete them anyways. But yeah, hopefully, I don't know, you're looking forward to 2021, unless, you know, in case 2020 was horrible for you. Like, I don't jump on this train that like 2020 was bad for everybody, you know. Like, honestly, like, you know, for those of you who it was a bad year, like, I definitely empathize. But everybody just like claiming that 2020 was like the worst year for everybody and should be forgotten. 2020 was one of the honestly, 2020 was one of the best years for me personally. But yeah, maybe I'm just the Antichrist or something. I don't know. I'm gonna shut up. Have a good one. Happy New Year. I'll see you tomorrow.